just going to keep it short here, and I'm not much of a presenter, especially presenting into the void, as Claire and Reagan and I talked about before. But anyways, I don't want to spend too much time talking about pricing or anything like that, so I just put it on the screen here. As they mentioned, we're based out of Canada, but we just soft launched in the US September 1, and launched with RepSpark, which has been great so far. So thanks to everyone for coming. I'm going to start just quick running through a few of our products that we're excited about. Our core product's always been our polo, so it's right here. As you can see, we specialize in a little louder patterns. We use a poly spandex mix like most people are doing now, but honestly, that's not what sets our product apart. We've got a great product for a great price. But one thing I talked about with the crew ahead of time is that I think our biggest separator for you guys as retailers is that we don't advertise online. So what happened is we found that we were competing against our own products. I'll use a Canadian example. So Banff Springs in Canada is a pretty highly rated course, and they sell a lot of our stuff, and they have since day one. We found that social ads essentially are AI learned. They learn who's interested in your product and they target them the hardest. So what happened is we were selling the highest volume of stuff online to those who sold it. So for example, we were selling lots at Banff Springs Pro Shop. We were selling lots online to people in Banff. So instead of competing with our own customers, we kind of changed our strategy and became 100% a wholesaler. I see I have a question in the chat right away. I'll catch that in a second, Michael. So instead of doing that, now we're not competing with ourselves, or no, we're not competing with you guys. We would rather you guys buy 100 polos a year than you guys buy 50 polos and sell another 50 direct to consumers. Because ultimately for us, we really think that the benefit for us and for you guys is in volume. So just to answer your question, Michael, our products are produced in Vietnam. Most of them are produced in Vietnam. So our polos and our pants are made in Vietnam. I'll cover the pants in just a second. Our pants are obviously a product we're really excited about. But you guys as retailers, I think that the biggest thing with us is, if we're being honest, I think there's a lot of companies like us who make, let's call it relatively the same products. I believe the structure behind our price essentially was we try to make our polos so they're not more than a tee time, or they're not more than a golf outing. My belief is it's hard to justify, and I'm not talking about you're playing your TPC sawgrasses and stuff. I mean, you're spending $800 on a tee time. Obviously, your clothing's kind of irrelevant. But if you go to a municipal course or you're a decent course, you try to make it so that your tee time's not $90 and your polo is $175. This product here is a product we just came out with. It's the products that taken me the longest by far ever to make. So we came up with a Rolo Golf jogger. I'll just kind of go through some of the features. The waistband is one thing we're most excited about. So if you see in here, it's got an elastic waistband. So it's got a little bit of stretch, but not so much that you can't, that it stretches out and it's falling down by the end of the day. This here is a silicone in here. So when you tuck your shirt in, it doesn't come untucked, it doesn't slide down on you. Instead of going with, I think you guys all know what I'm talking about, with like an elastic cuff that kind of like zigzags, we went with like more like the sweatpant style cuff. Even the pockets are pretty high end. So essentially, this is actually made at the factory that at one point produced Lululemon. And when Lululemon got really big, one of their things was they needed to cut production costs to increase profit margins. So our manufacturer at that time basically said, yeah, that's not what we do. And the fabric grade on these, they said in their 30 years they've never used a fabric grade that's graded as high as ours. So they're obviously a lot of money to produce, but the benefit for us is it goes manufacturer us, you guys, instead of, manufacturer us, wholesaler, distributor, sales rep, you guys. So we're able to cut quite a bit of the cost out there. Yeah. So Regan here just commented on the polo I'm wearing here. This is our blade style collar. It took a little while to develop as well. To be honest, our manufacturer wasn't super thrilled with us It's designed. You see a lot of them kind of come in here, and look a lot like a t-shirt from distance. It was important to us to create something that still looked dressy, so that the blade collar doesn't have obviously a lot of whatever, but it's meant to run up your neck a little bit. It's great to wear to dinner, golf course, whatever it is, but it is meant to look a little dressier than your classic blade collar. I don't have a whole heck of a lot else for you guys. I think like the biggest thing for us is that we're looking out for you guys, number one. To answer, I guess, the last question, or there's no question there, but to answer a question many of you might have, with us being Canadian, you guys mostly being in the US, because we've soft launched in the US, our inventory is still housed in Canada, but we do have a warehouse in Texas. So what we do when you guys order is, rather than ship it directly to you, because then you get stuck paying duties on it, or you get stuck paying duties on what your cost is, we actually ship it to ourselves in Texas, pay the duties on it, and then it's sent from Texas to you guys through our American company. That way you guys aren't stuck with a duties bill or anything like that. We would essentially, for you guys, be no different than any company that's based in Florida or Texas or wherever it is in the US. By this time next year, we'll have inventory housed in Texas, which will increase our speed a little bit. But for now, you guys could expect to have it within a week. And yeah, Julian, I appreciate that. Appreciate that comment. That's nice. Alan, in terms of the embroidering, we typically try not to embroider our shirts. And the reason for it is that this material doesn't shrink. And we tell people not to, dry it, but we all know they're going to dry it. So what happens is embroidery shrinks and the polo doesn't. And you kind of end up with a little bit of that bunched up look in there. So what we do is we typically order our logos directly from our factory, whether it's a silicone logo or a heat press or whatever type of logo it is. We'll order the best logo for you guys. We'll chat with you guys ahead of time, but we have a pretty high quality logo process. And then we'll press them in-house here before we send them. But we can do logoing. We just prefer not to. I'm just going to go through a couple questions here if I have time. We will be at the PGA Show in Orlando. We don't have a booth. I'm going to wait until we have actual inventory in Texas before we go. I'll be there. So if anyone's interested in touching base with me, I'm happy to, set aside a meeting in the lunch area or whatever. Private label, Michael, I'm glad you asked. I actually skipped that part of the presentation, but for example, so we do our custom program's pretty solid. We have, this is a custom logo, or one we just did for an agriculture company here. Mosaic's the company. So you see that we have the Mosaic logo on the back. This is typically the logo I'm used. That's a raised, like a silicone raised logo. It looks pretty nice. And then I think they went with one of their side products on the side. So for you guys, this is a completely custom pattern for them too. So say you guys are ordering for a hot sauce company. We can do the little hot sauce bottles or whatever. We can private label everything. Our MOQs in our custom program are 50 as well. So compared to most custom programs, and that's fully custom. So if you want this pattern or plain black or plain whatever, the price is all the same because it makes no difference for us. The cost for us to produce that's the same. We have an in-house designer, and the prices actually match our Polo MSRPs. So if you're 100 plus, you're at $39.99. If you're at 50 to 99, you're at $49.99. And our custom program, honestly, is pretty close to as large as our green grass program. So we're pretty close to 50-50 on that. And I mentioned the not going direct to consumers. We do, just to clarify on Juliana's, we do have a website. We don't advertise on our website. Thanks, Michael. And I'm looking forward to seeing any of you guys at the PGA show. But in terms of our custom program, if you guys are interested in shirts, it's definitely worth reaching out. I'd say it's one of our strongest programs. It's at one point we actually almost became a strictly custom program. It's just with the amount of green grass we do, it's hard to leave them in the dust. So yeah, I appreciate the time. Any questions anybody has beyond this? I don't want to take too much of everybody else's time up here, but any questions you have beyond this, shoot me an email, give me a call. I don't currently have any reps in the US, so I'm going to personally take care of all the accounts we have down there for the first year at least. If that's all right with you guys, and we'll go from there. But I appreciate the time, and thanks for everything here.